Three, two, one, and we are live. Good Friday morning to you all. We're actually shooting this episode at one of my friends' place. Had to come up for a birthday event, and I wanted to take the time to talk little bit about that and that traveling and trying to balance work and trying to make the sense between the two. I think a lot of us have always been encouraged or excited by the idea of working from home, of working on the road, of working in a place that's simply not where we're currently at. So maybe this sounds familiar to you. You are working at a office that's pretty mundane, it's getting old, and you've always wanted to try and work on the go, work on the travel, or maybe you've just been thrusted into working on your own, working on the go because of COVID related things, offices shutting down, not needing the physical space, and it's kind of up to you if you want to take that dual role, if you want to move around while you work. I guess if I would talk about it broadly to begin, just because I've only been working and being able to travel for about 2 years. And if I'm being blatantly honest, I really don't work that much when I am on the go, simply simply because it's a really tough balancing act. Just for an initial heads up, of like Jim Rome, a motivational speaker, bring him up a decent amount. He was talking about how you shouldn't bring your briefcase to the beach. So there's only some of my clients, and maybe for writing and reading and a lot of the creative research based activities, I can do that when on the go, when on the move. But generally, when it comes to true focus, and that is one of our founding principles of the company, is people's ability to be able to improve their focus so they can be more present for what it is they want, whether it's on that marketing plan that we need to put together or present for your friends when you're out having a good time with them. And sometimes while traveling and trying to work, it can be a tricky sauce on being productive, not being too overwhelmed and stressed out. And simply, a lot of people can ruin their traveling plans, their what they're kind of doing on the road because of work, because it's the hard in between. But there's also a lot of people who do, like I did well, I just did that because I was poor, to be honest with you, but lived out of my car. And I met a lot of van people who live in their vans. They they do it year round, simply put. And working in the mornings, getting up before a lot of the businesses are open, the day gets started for a lot of people. And that morning routine really helped a lot of them get started on what was necessary for productivity and progress for the day. And then having a rich life and being next to cool resources, being in national parks and all this and that. And that's ultimately what I would want. Or say you would ask yourself, have I ever thought about traveling and working? Have I ever thought about that balancing act of, would I be able to do it? Would I be able to be focused? Ask yourself, would you bring the briefcase to the beach? Or do you think you'd be disciplined enough to sit down, do the work that you need to do before you go to the beach? Are you the type of person who can look at something, recognize it, and say, that's going to be really fun when I get to that later, but I'm doing this right now. This is number one priority. If you're a person who sees the snack on the counter and you can't resist and you just grab it, I probably wouldn't do it. But that leads me to my next point. So traveling while you're working, and testing the waters to see if that's something that you've wanted to do. I'm sure a lot of us have already been forced to work at home per se with COVID related things. So if you're in that type of position, self-employed worker, and you have the opportunity to move around a bit and do some work, I think it's at least worth the try. And on to the second point, just understanding the lifestyle that works for you. Personally, you. Again, everything we take off the show, think back and reflect with our personal selves so we can make first, if we want to improve the world, we got to improve ourselves first. And being on top of understanding your preference and lifestyle and what you want to do. For example, I personally like traveling a couple times a month, and I'm willing to do things like this morning show. However, and then I have a lot of readings and some writing I got to catch up. I don't mind doing the creative stuff on the go, but I wouldn't make sales calls probably, if I'm being totally honest, on a Friday at my friend's house. I'm cool with getting up really early and then just hitting the books and doing the research and yeah, again, the creative side of things for ideas for the show. Those are things that I really do like and enjoy, and I'll do those even on vacation. So, but the nitty gritty dollar making tasks such as sales prospecting being my biggest income driver when it comes to the coaching company, just contacting people such as yourself and trying to get you as a client would technically be like my money making task. So ask yourself, is there parts of your business that you can work on while on the go? Is this something you would even want to try? Maybe this can be an incentive, and a lot of times clients will turn a goal, a motivating goal. Like my mom was just talking to me about her and her friend going to like booking a trip to Yosemite. It's like, yeah, that park is absolutely insanity. And just using the travel as a motivator versus bringing work to like a national park to that if you don't do that very often. So back and forth, understanding your lifestyle, your motives, what do you want to try? And that's the thing, you don't know until you know, that weird adage. So just trying things out, moving around a lot, getting up at different times. Maybe this morning you got up and you're just checking in with us on the show. We're going live here this Friday morning. You're coming in and you just want to play trial and error with getting up, trying to see what is the best version of yourself. Maybe the best version of yourself is traveling in a van on the road at getting up at 5 a.m., doing the hard work, and then spending the rest of your day hiking or just trying, exploring different foods in different areas, whatever suits your fancy. So understanding lifestyle and then just working backwards from what ideal lifestyle would you want to have? What would have to be around you? What would need to be present? Do you have a bucket list of, I brought this up yesterday, and again, something usually make the clients at least get started on is creating some type of bucket list, but understanding the lifestyle that you want to live. And if you feel cooped up and you haven't been traveling much, if you're really concerned about COVID-19, get a shot in the arm and go travel and go do your own thing. Not a doctor, shouldn't be giving any type of advice, but I'm just saying, time, leaving us to our last point, time is fair game, is the one universal, like the one very fair thing about what life has to offer for people, especially when you look at all the inequalities of the world. Say if you're born into a billionaire family, or you're born into a village in South Sudan and you've never eaten anything but rice, or if these huge contrasts, my point being, something that we can be optimistic about and something we can feel good about in the sense of being able to try traveling, be able to better understand my lifestyle, what it is I really want. And that time is extremely powerful. And we're in control of it so much more than we give ourselves credit for, such as I can completely dictate what time I get up. I can completely dictate what time I come on here and talk to you guys. We can be in the right place at the right time, say a certain national park at a certain season, so I can hear certain types of animals. We all get that 24 hours. And the other person who has moved along, who has overcame and use their time to really get done what it is they want, they're the ones who always feel fulfilled. And sometimes the timing can feel so off that it's demotivating. Maybe a story, Nelson Mandela. That guy did 25 years in the slammer, a quarter of his life off of false convictions and bullshit charges. And he still came out and wanted to know how he could help people, how he could make the impact. He knew that the time was already gone. And there's only so much of my life that I can continue to live, and judging at what quality of life that is I want to live at is up to us. It is our responsibility. Whether we want to hear that or not, your morning life coach asking you that, are you giving your time the necessary travel habits, the necessary work patterns? How much time are you spending in the office? Do you enjoy that? Is that in alignment with your values, what you represent? Well, knowing time's the fair game, the one universal piece that is fair game to everyone. And maybe the challenge is, where can I give myself 1 hour? How can I improve myself? What is one step forward I can take? Is it doing marketing and trying to do a show? Is it picking up that book? Is it writing out and journaling about the possibility of wanting to travel and work at the same time? That's up to us. The responsibility, maybe this is a take home question for over the weekend, is, do I feel like I'm wasting my time at all? Do I feel like I'm traveling enough? And what type of lifestyle do I truly desire to try and max those two between travel and time? We had a couple questions. Tony Robbins had a really nice sequence of coaching questions that I was reading the other day. And we'll go ahead and we'll start with one just for you guys to have over the weekend. And this is a basic universal question that a lot of people, you'd be surprised, cannot answer. I'd ask you, what is the one thing you want more than anything? What is the one thing you want more than anything? Let's type it into the chat. Good morning. Good morning. What is the one thing you want more than anything? So what is the one thing that you want more than anything? And then on Monday, we'll go ahead and we'll wrap up and have it make sense. But just go ahead and get the journal started. Go ahead, maybe get the reflection started. This type of clarity and awareness towards ourselves and what it is we really want to be doing is slow at first. It takes time. We have to sit down and think about it, expand on it, maybe go walk at the park and get some fresh air and let some creative thoughts marinate. But some will and some won't have this understanding of what it is that they actually want. Because if you can't tell me what you want, I can tell you you're probably not going to get it. That's There has to be the destination. And starting with this thought in mind, traveling and time, and what is the one thing you want? What is one thing you want more than anything within that? Is it to be completely financially free? How much money is that per month? A dollar amount. You hear that word get thrown a lot around. You hear that get thrown around a lot now. People desiring to retire very young. People don't want to work. People are just want financial freedom. They want to be able to kick their feet up but they can't tell me a number. You have to be able to have a specific number. You have to be able to lay it out what it is that you want. How much time of day do you plan on working? What is your preferred lifestyle? And what do we need to do to go around to be able to make that work? They In goal setting and coaching, they use the word reverse engineering a lot and just working things backwards from a point that is referenceable, that is usable again and again, and something that we can dive into and better understand to set ourselves up. Because, like we were talking about, we will be responsible for the traveling while we're working if that's something that we desire. Maybe we just don't want to move at all and we just want to sit at home. I don't know. That's for you to decide. Or maybe you want some type of hybrid thing where you go work a little bit, make sure that you go see your friends out of state, and you go do a fun thing every couple times a month. Or maybe full bore, just running around like a madman. However, don't let being slow up to this point be so deterring. Like, I've never done that. I can't do that. Well, you can try. And what's the worst that can happen? You lose a little bit more time. If we're concerned about losing time on figuring these important questions out, then we miss the boat. Because I can guarantee we're spending way more time, losing way more focus on a bunch of other things that absolutely don't matter, whether it's our cell phones, it's the TVs. Advertisers make money off of your attention and your focus. So they are going to do every single thing to try and get your attention and your focus. But we have to be smarter than that. Like, Tanner, you can't be smarter than the technology companies. They run the world. Yeah, totally factual. However, there can be a balance between us being in the driver's seat of what is distracting our focus and what is not, versus having the devices completely dictate us, keep us watching, scrolling on TikTok. I know people who scroll on TikTok and they just lose an hour of their day like that, but they would never sit down and answer the question, what is the one thing you want more than anything? And then there's this surprise of, man, I don't know why I'm upset. I don't know why I'm frustrated. Well, if you value traveling and you haven't traveled in a while, so your value's adventure. You could say one of your values would be adventure, and you haven't been adventuring enough because you don't have any money. And you don't have any money because you haven't been able to work very hard. Then something's out of alignment. If you value adventure and you value traveling and then you don't do it for long periods of time, you are going to naturally start feeling more negative emotion because you're out of alignment. That's one of the weird things about values that's so powerful, is that we can, once we know them, the ones that we represent, if we're not living up to them, having high standards for ourselves because we only get one shot at this and we want to make the most of it. If we're not living up to those values, then we're going to feel like shit. And feeling like shit sucks, but it's a great alarm, especially for younger folks, or even if you're older, seeing that and understanding like holy crap, when I'm not, I value community, traveling, impacting people. And when I'm not doing those things, I'm sad and depressed. I should probably do those things or figure out a game plan, putting a game plan together to make sure that I'm staying in alignment with those things that I want. So if you want to dive deeper, we're not going to go into a values exercise. That's something I usually go a lot deeper in just for my coaching. One-on-one coaching, you can always check out, sign up for a free consultation, go through some fun exercises, get a game plan together on what it is that you really want more than it. What is the one thing you want more than anything? Take the time to reflect, take the time to read, continue to be creative. Don't stop trying, coming onto the show, improving your morning schedule. And what are you doing with your time? Maybe you need to travel a little more. Maybe you need to travel a little less. Maybe you shouldn't work on the road. Maybe you should. But these are the fun, intuitive questions we can try and ask ourselves and truly try to figure out to live the most fun and enjoyable life possible. This Friday, we're wrapped up for today's show. We're done for the week. We'll be back here on Monday morning at 5 a.m. Central Standard Time. Your morning life coach, T-Dog. I'm going to do some reading. I'm up. Who would even thought, you're off doing your own thing. I ate a ton of food and running around like a madman yesterday. I was really tired, but feeling pretty good this morning. Kind of getting locked in, used to this habit. We're on week number 6 for the show, and just it gets easier with time. And I hope I say that not to be like, oh, sick. Yeah, Tanner, you're getting up really early, but that things just take a little bit of time to get used to, and a little bit of patience can go a really long way. Something to think about, right? Coach T-Dog, I'm here to try and improve myself as much as you guys. So let's have some fun. Let's do it together. And again, I will be back here live 5 a.m. Monday morning. Everyone have an incredible weekend. Love you all so much, and cheers, friends. Until next time.